Come in, don't leave the door open. Close the door. When people come in, they should come in quickly and close the door right behind them because the cold air gets in. Quick. Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihari Gopi Janabalaba Giribadadade Gopi Jana Malaba Giribadadade Yasodanandana Brajachana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajachana Ranjana Jamuna Tirapana Chagate Yamuna Tira Manachagate Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihakti Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihakti Gopi Janabalaba Girivadadhaguti Gopi Janabalaba Girivadadhari Girivadadhari Yasodanandana Rajajanuranjana Yasodanandana Brajat Janaranjana Jamunatera Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jayuradam Madhuva Kunya Bihakti Jayuradam Madhuva Kunya Bihakti Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravitakacharya Ostatana Satashi Shima Divine Grace Abhaya Charana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Shidaheda Stakur Gajaya. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shidweda Gadadha. Shiva Seti Gaur Bhaktavinda Gajaya. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Syamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Gijaya. Vrindavanam ki jai, Maturadam ki jai, Jagannath Swami ki jai, Monamaya ki jai. Shrimati Lasidevi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivashesha Shinyavadi Paschachate Shatarni. So we are reading from the 10th canto, 57th chapter, text 30 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Akrure Prosate Rishtani Asan Vai Dwarakalkasam Sharira Manasas Tapa Muhur Daivika Bautika Akrure Prositeristani Prositeristani Asan Vaidwarakalkasam Sharira Manasastapa Muhur Daivika Bautika Akrure Positeristani Asan Vaidwarakalkasam Sharira Manasastapa Muhur Daivika Bautika Akrure Positeristani Asan Vaidwarakalkasam Sharira Manasastapa Muhur Daivika Bautika. Okay. Daivika Bautika. Okay? So, I was actually thinking, as I was looking at this verse, the uh, the rhythm would be best made if you just divide it into 2 lines instead of 4 lines. Yeah, because the Y and the A after that would be Akure Poshiterishtan Yasam Vai Doraka Sam. It actually it makes the rhythm proper at that particular point. But anyway, so they divide it in 4. So Akrure Akrura Proshite, being in exile. Arishtani, ill omens. Asan, arose. Vai, indeed. Dwaraka Okasam, for the residents of Dwaraka. Sharira, caused by the body. Manasaha, and by the mind. Tapa, distresses. Muhu, repeated. Daivika, caused by higher powers. Bautika, caused by other creatures. Now you'll notice in the word-by-word synonyms, all the threefold miseries are covered. Other creatures, higher powers in your own body and mind. That's Durga's business with her Trishira, trident. Translation: in Akrura's absence, ill omens arose in Dwaraka, and the citizens began to suffer continually from physical and mental distresses, as well as from disturbances caused by higher powers and by creatures of the earth. You can repeat. In Akrura's absence, ill omens arose in Dwaraka, and the citizens began to suffer continually from physical and mental distresses, as well as from disturbances caused by higher powers and by creatures of the earth. So, purport by the followers of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Daivi Ka here refers to disturbances caused by supernatural beings. These disturbances often manifest as natural calamities like earthquakes, tidal waves, or extreme weather. Nowadays, materialistic people attribute these disturbances to earthly causes. That means material causes, not realizing that they constitute punishment at the hands of superior beings. The word Bhotika refers to trouble caused by fellow creatures of the earth, such as human beings, animals, and insects. According to Srila Sridhara Swami, Akrura took the Shaimantaka jewel, went to reside in the city of Benares, where he became known as Dhanapati, the master of charity. There he executed fire sacrifices on gold altars with elaborate assemblies of qualified priests. Some residents of Dwaraka felt that the unusual calamities were due to Akrura's absence, forgetting, as described in the next verse, that the Supreme Lord's personal presence in Dwaraka precluded that possibility. Because when the Lord comes to earth, his pastimes resemble those of human beings. The principle of familiarity breeds contempt comes into play. It appears that during the lives of many saintly persons and incarnations of God, there always exists a class of people who fail to appreciate, or who only occasionally appreciate, the position of the great souls among them. On the other hand, the fortunate and enlightened souls who recognize the true position of the Lord and his associates are supremely blessed. And Jiva Goswami speaks, Arishtani refers to calamities like earthquakes. Another version has Arishta. In that case, the masculine form is poetic license. There were various sufferings, verb is understood, of the body and mind, which were adhyatmika, suffering caused by one's own body. There were also daivika, sufferings caused by nature, and bhautika, caused by other living entities' sufferings. So there's a lot to say about this, but I wanted to read text 31 because it's like a partner to this particular text, and then we'll speak. Ityango pash apadishanje ke vismritya pragutaritam munivasa nivase kim agate tarishta darshanam. Some men proposed that the troubles were due to Akrura's absence, but they had forgotten the glories of the Supreme Lord. That's the same thing that was mentioned in the purport previously, which they themselves had so often described. Indeed, how can calamities occur in a place where the personality of God at the residence of all sages resides? And then the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti provides the following insight in this verse. In Benares, Akrura became famous for performing sacrifice on golden altars and for his abundant charity to the Brahmanas. When the citizens of Dwarka heard about this, some of them gossiped that Krishna, considering Akrura a rival, had sent him into exile. To dispel this new and incredible stain on his reputation, Lord Krishna created various calamities in Dwarka, thus inducing the citizens to call for Akrura's return, which the Lord then ordered. And actually, let's see. Okay, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, as a result of his offenses to the gopis of Braja by taking Krishna, Akrura had to also experience many years of separation from Krishna and to live in Kashi amongst Krishna's enemies. As many years as Baladev stayed in Mithila, Akrura stayed in Kashi, hearing how he was giving sacrifice to many brahmanas and doing sacrifices on an altar of gold. People began to gossip that Krishna had Akrura sent to Kashi. Though Balaram, Rukmini, and others did not believe the rumors, in order to clear his name, Krishna created many calamities in Dwarka in order to bring Akrura back. After stating the Muni's proposition that Dwarka was suffering due to the influence of time mentioned in verse 30, it is defeated in verse 31. Some AKs, such as Vaishampayana Muni, forgetting their previous words, prag udaritam, in praise of Krishna, began to speak. However, if a Muni residing in a village prevents calamity, what calamity to happen in the abode of Krishna, who is the shelter of all Munis? Muni Vasa. And finally, Jiva Goswami. Some, like Vaishampayana, forgetting that they had previously said in praise of the Lord, not remembering this, attributed the calamities to Akrura's absence. How could calamities happen in the continual residence of the Lord, Nivase, who gives shelter, Vasa, to all sages? Even if one sage lived there, such calamities could not happen. Even one calamity should not happen, what to speak of many varieties. It should be understood that this was the will of the Lord. He produced these calamities in order to provide a pretext for bringing back Akrura. So, Omagana Timidanda Shah, Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur and Miditam Yena Tasmai Shikadavena Maha. So, first of all, this particular topic of omens is mentioned quite often in Srila Prabhupada's books in the Vedic literatures. And, even we start in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about the omens of Kali Yuga after Krishna left this planet that Yudhisthira is observing, such as the she-jackals vomiting fire, all sorts of different omens. And generally you hear this one particular omen about, in a personal sense, how if one's, as far as being a male, one's left eye or left part of the body is twitching, that means something inauspicious is going to happen. For the ladies, it's different. If their left side, left eye is twitching, that means something auspicious is going to happen. So many different omens are there. There's a whole science of interpretation of these omens. For example, if the deer cross on one side of the road, it means one thing. If they cross on another side of the road, it means another thing. So this particular topic is mentioned quite a bit. And final omen I want to mention is when Krishna jumped into the Yamuna River to attack the Kaliya serpent, the residents of Vrindavan. And actually, it's described in some cases the Kaliya serpent tried to bite or did bite Krishna on his chest. Of course, couldn't pierce because Krishna has a transcendental body. That so many evil omens appeared in Braj at that particular time, such as the earth trembling and the stars started falling. Those are meteors. Meteors is another bad omen. You know, sometimes people think, oh, let's watch the meteor shower. So that means something's going to happen. So many bad omens. And if one is expert in astrology, one can actually predict these particular occurrences based on the position of the stars. I mean, there's one very expert young boy. I think he's about 14 or 15. Maybe some of you have seen some of his videos. And he seems to predict everything right on the spot. Has anyone seen it? Yeah. Quite interesting. You know, pretty much predicted the election, pretty much. Anyway, don't worry about who it is. So he's very nice. He's a Vaishnava. So, anyway, and then you have another omen. Actually, I said I was going to mention another one, but anyway, we mentioned another one. It's Kamsa. Before he got killed by Krishna, he was looking at his reflection in a mirror, and there was no head there. So if you look in the mirror and you don't see a head, then that's it, Prabhu. You better start chanting very enthusiastically. So, anyway, this whole world is described as a world, because here the topic is the threefold miseries. It's described Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam. You know, Prabhupada translates this verse of Brahma Bhuvanaloka Puna Vartino Arjuna Mamu Petya Tukantya Puna Janmana Vijate, from the highest planet to the lowest planet, all are places of misery. So as far as this misery in this material world, and then we'll get to the specific misery the residents of Dwarka are suffering at this point, this causes many people, when people observe the misery in this world, this causes many people to doubt the existence of God. Or at least they may be thinking God may be there, but he is, one sense, he may be just the prime mover. In other words, the person who just started off everything and then it got out of control, right? I mean, there was one actual person named Harvey Kushner, which sounds like Hare Krishna, who wrote a book, why bad things happen to good people, good things happen to bad people. And he says, God's well-meaning, but, it just got too much for him. Or they started everything and got out of his hands. It's just like someone who throws the first ball in baseball, isn't it? The president, but he's not responsible for which team wins. So, and then there's other people who say that, God's just not good. So this is a big question called theodicy, which means the justice of God. And we understand exactly why bad things happen to apparently good people and good things happen to apparently bad people. And of course, that's the karma. But it actually all has a purpose. And the purpose is to actually bring people back to their original consciousness. In the justice field, it's called restorative justice. So there's a purpose to the punishment. When you see or read about the punishments in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam or anywhere else in the Vedic literatures, you should understand that these punishments are not there just to make people suffer for what they did, but to make people learn that you don't do that again. For example, if someone is a abortionist, then that person will be aborted for every abortion that he has performed, isn't it? And so what that means is after the 1,000th of being aborted, and never seen the light, then he realizes, oh my God, I should not have done that. So sometimes we need to suffer to understand the suffering that we cause others. isn't it? Someone who has suffered, actually, there's that statement, someone who has suffered poverty, he or she will actually understand what pain is. I mean, for example, when I had my kidney stones, it was extreme pain. And now I can really, when I hear about devotees experiencing pain, like Mother Krishna Priya is experiencing pain now, I'm definitely much more empathic than I was before. Before I was thinking, because, if a devotee came to me in pain, I'd said, snap out of it, chant Hare Krishna. Because you're young, you haven't experienced pain, but after you experience it, isn't it? Then you really become more empathic. So this is the purpose of these karmic reactions, so we can gradually understand Dukkhalayam Shashvatam. So we are expecting relief from these karmic reactions, aren't we? Because we're devotees, we understand from the nectar of devotion what? Immediate relief from all distress. Isn't that what nectar of devotion says? Immediate relief from all distress. So, here's a quote from Nectar of Devotion. A devotee should not expect immediate relief. One portion, it says you should expect immediate relief, or you get immediate relief from all distress. And of course, Nectar of Devotion describes that distress in this material world is caused, first of all, by what? Avidya and ignorance of vidya. And then because of avidya, you have this kuta and bija, you have an inclination to enjoy separate than Krishna. And bija, there's a seed of desire. And then you have your action, karma, reaction, and then you have your prarabdha karma. This is what you're born with. So all these things are described. And it's described that when one fries the seed of desire by the chanting of Hare Krishna, performing devotional service, then there's no more desire. So what's happening? So why are we suffering? Nectar Devotion has an interesting quote. It says, a devotee should not expect immediately relief from the reactions of his past misdeeds. Direct quote. Yet, we contrast that with what? Sarvadharmam Purushaja. Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Ham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshiyashami Masucha. Don't worry. Just surrender unto me. I'll protect you. So what's happening here? What's happening? I'm thinking, I'm getting old and experiencing some bodily pains. And Krishna, what are you doing? So the reason is, Prabhupada explains this, that it's no longer karma, but it's Krishna administering something that Prabhupada would explain as a token reaction, giving the example of a fan. You understand? You unplug the fan has some momentum, but it's still slowing down. Right? So, that's how we see it, that Krishna is directly putting us in this situation, like he is with the residents of Dwarka. He has a plan. And his plan, of course, is to bring us to Krishna consciousness. But if immediately there were no more miseries when we first took up Krishna consciousness, there wouldn't be so many impetuses to surrender. I mean, just like, in my particular basis, when you get older, at my age, I don't wish that for anybody. But anyway, so I wish old age, but I don't wish miseries. Then you're really thinking, oh my God, I take this Krishna consciousness seriously. When as a brahmachari, enjoy, eat a lot of prasadam, enjoy life and everything like that. But now, oh my God, it is real. I may pass away one day. I will pass away one day. So, anyway, so Krishna does this because we are not on the level of experiencing no pain and then being able to progress in devotional service. That's why Krishna gives us these tokens. So how do we deal with this? And this is our test. Because Krishna says that he's going to do this, Yashaham Anugraname Harishe Tadamshanai, right? Everybody knows that verse, 1088.8 in the Srimad Bhagavatam. For those who I especially favor, I put them in difficult situations. In this particular verse, it says it takes away everything. But taking away everything doesn't mean necessarily just taking away money or material opulence, but it takes away the different propensities for enjoying in this material world. And then one, in the verse says, one actually takes association with devotees and takes up Krishna consciousness seriously. So, what do we do about it when Krishna does that? Another verse from the Bhagavatam, which is 10:14:8, which is Tatenum kampam sushamikshamanam punjanivatma kritam vipakam red bhagvapurvir vidadam namaste jivetiyo mukti pade sudaya bhak. That one tolerates these things, and not only tolerate, but you go on serving Krishna with your body, mind, and words. Now, I have the purport to that verse, but I'm not going to read it because it's not that much time left for class. Another verse that indicates the type of devotional service that we should be rendering without any stoppage, without any material motive, is a famous verse from the first canto, 126, Savai Pumsam Parodharma, Yato Bhakti Hoksaje, Ahaitaki Apretiyate, Iyatma Supersedate. So, what does that mean? That this devotional service, Savai Pumsam, the topmost dharma, Yato Bhakti Hoksaje, is to perform devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that devotional service, Krishna's trying to bring us to that point. Ahaitaki should not be motivated by any material motive. Dhanam, janam, sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Sometimes in devotional service, one gets a position or gets worship or gets money, Nadam Janam Sundari. So one has to perform devotional service whether or not you get those things. That's a haitaki. No cause, no material cause, other than one's devotion for Krishna. Pratiyata means it doesn't get stopped under any condition. Like this morning, I was listening to one of Srila Prabhupada's lectures from 1977 in Bombay. It was right before, he was extremely sick, was coughing throughout the whole lecture. And I was thinking, if it was me, I'd be in bed. But Prabhupada is there. He's preaching, not only preaching, but he's preaching like a lion. Some of the devotees described in the final pandals that Prabhupada gave in Bombay and other places, that they had to carry Prabhupada onto the stage. He couldn't walk on the stage, so they carried him on the stage. And when they carried him on the stage, they basically had to carry him and put him on the seat. He started the lecture, and then gradually Prabhupada got more and more, externally, energetic. He became like, a lion, isn't it? So that's a haitakiya pratyata. There's no cause. What is Prabhupada getting from it? Except to please his spiritual master. That's the cause. The bhakti is the cause. And and he's not stopping. Even at the time of lying in his bed, he couldn't even hold the microphone of the dictaphone. And Prabhupada is continuing to translate his Bhaktivedanta purports. Isn't it amazing? That's should be our aspiration. Yes, these things will happen, whether you're a devotee or non-devotee. But when these things happen, you continue serving Krishna, regardless of the situation. So then the question arises, why in the case of pure devotees, like Srila Prabhupada, and even the Lord, do we see these calamities happen? You may say, what calamities can happen to the Lord? Well, Sita Devi is kidnapped. That's a pretty big calamity when your wife is kidnapped, because nowadays in Kali Yuga, people wouldn't think it's a calamity, but that's another issue. People may think it, well, thank God. But anyway, your wife is kidnapped, or you're being criticized by the residents of Dwarka, the residents of Ayodhya, and you got to send your wife away and live your whole life without your wife. And when you do a fire sacrifice, you have to have a statue of your wife there, which is like Lord Ram doing that. So what's happening? Why is this? Of course, in the case of the Lord, we understand that it is Vipralamba Seva. It's something's happening on a higher level. It's not actually a calamity. It's a higher level. It's a pastime, like Krishna being criticized by the residents of Dwarka. It's a pastime for Krishna to deal with this whole situation with the Krura, also to bring the Krura back. So, these are all different machinations by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to carry out, to enjoy, right? So, but in the case of a pure devotee, it's not that the sicknesses are something that you enjoy. I was also listening to Prabhupada talking about coming on the boat. And Prabhupada talked about for 2 nights, he had heart attacks. Not just 2 heart attacks, but 2 nights, one night, and Prabhupada's trying to rest the next night, and he has another heart attack, and Prabhupada, he describes, he didn't know what it was, an extreme pain. And then it got to the 3rd night, and Prabhupada was expecting another heart attack. Because that's sometimes when you have the heart attack, when you're resting or when you get up in the morning. And so Prabhupada said if he had had another heart attack, he would have died on the boat. So, it's not a pleasant experience, even for a pure devotee. So why is that? Well, that's an interesting question. But the answer that Prabhupada gives sometimes is that without opposition, without problems, where's the chance for a glorious victory? So Krishna's arranging that to glorify his pure devotee. When a devotee has to endure something, like when Prabhupada had this spinal tap, Prabhupada was asked, yeah, does it hurt? And Prabhupada said, we tolerate. So it's not that you're a pure devotee and then, all right, he understands he's not the body, heart attack, spinal tap, doesn't matter. Prabhupada didn't even want needles put into him. But don't stick me with needles. Don't take me to a doctor. So the point is that it glorifies Srila Prabhupada these difficulties. It's like you read a novel about someone, and they go through so many difficulties, just like there's this movie series, The Lord of the Rings. What was the guy's name? Bagger or something, anyway, whatever his name was. He went through so many difficulties, and he heroically got rid of this ring. I'm not going to tell you why. But Prabhupada went through so many difficulties. So Krishna's glorifying his devotee. And also, when these difficulties happen, it actually brings the devotees closer to Krishna. One might say a pure devotee is already close to Krishna, but there's no limit to the closeness and intensity of one's devotion. Devotional service is dynamic. And so, therefore, you even have pure devotees like Queen Kunti, asking for more difficulties. Pada Santutak Shashwat, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. Again and again have these difficulties. Apuna Bhavadarshanam. And then you see, other examples of devotees put in difficulty are Prahlad Maharaj put into difficulty, residents of Vrindavan put into difficulty. Krishna even saw his own father, Nanda Maharaj, kidnapped. You know the story in Krishna book? Kidnapped by Varuna. So all these different difficulties. So anyway, final explanation is these are the Lord's pastimes. It glorifies devotees. It enhances pure devotees' meditation on the Supreme Lord to experience separation sometimes in a higher mood. And it also sets, the final one is, it sets an example for us. Maybe we can't copy, but we can understand, anusar, anukar, we can understand the mood of a devotee. I mean, obviously, I'm certainly not capable of enduring what Prabhupada endured and continuing in such a way. I mean, I have to be honest about it. But we understand and glorify, gives us an opportunity to glorify the pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada, and shoot for something. Just have this objective that, yes, we should shoot for that ideal. It gives us a very high ideal to shoot for. So, anyway, that's all we have time for today. I think we have to greet the deities. It's time.
One comment I was thinking how to reconcile Sarvadhamma Prayaja and the idea of immediate relief is that when you put the brakes on a car, it takes a while for it to stop.
Yeah.
So you have to put up with that. It's just a reality.
Yeah. Especially if you're driving a truck. Don't drive close, have a truck right behind you when you're driving a car. Because they can't stop on a dime.
Yeah.
Okay, on that happy note.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham
Vishnupataya Krishna Prasnaya Bhuttalaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vajane, Nirvisesha, Shunyavani Vasatyavade, Satarane. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dvaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, God, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, looking hey, Radhe, Radhe, Radhe. Hey, hey, Radhe, Naya Radhe, Jaya